All right, let's get into this story. I want you to imagine something. You're a creator. You have clawed your way to the very top of the internet. You are everywhere. You feel like a king, like you can conquer the world. And then, in just a few days, it all comes crashing down. This is the story of Samay Raina. And trust me, it is a wild ride. At the absolute peak of the crisis, when everything was falling apart, this was the number that mattered most. Three separate police cases, or FIRs, filed against him across the entire country. Now, an FIR, a First Information Report, is what officially kicks off a police investigation in India. So we're not just talking about some angry comments online anymore. No, this had blown up into a real-world legal nightmare involving state police and even a chief minister.
And while his actual freedom was on the line, so was his entire financial future. The potential loss he was staring down was a jaw-dropping 8 crore rupees.
To put that in perspective for you, this was 8 times his entire life savings. If he had to cancel his biggest tour ever, it would have meant complete financial ruin. I mean, can you even imagine that kind of pressure?
And here is the absolute craziest part of the story. Samay insists he was just sitting there, in the corner, when the comment that started all this was even made. So how? How does a bystander become the main target of a national firestorm? Let's break down exactly how it happened.
To really get the scale of the fall, you have to understand the height he fell from. See, before all the chaos, Samay Raina wasn't just popular, he was a full-blown cultural phenomenon. His show, India's Got Latent, was being watched on 4 crore unique devices every single month. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. He was reaching 4 out of every 100 people in the entire country. The scale was just massive. The guy was inescapable. Every video he dropped was a mega hit. You couldn't scroll through Instagram without seeing him on every third reel, and celebrities were literally lining up to be on his show. He was selling out stadiums and had just launched his most ambitious project ever, a huge tour of the United States. In his own words, he felt like a king. But you know how it goes. It was at this absolute peak, this pinnacle of success, that everything changed. A guest on his show made a comment that would ignite a firestorm across the entire nation. What's just staggering here is the speed. This wasn't some slow burn. This was an explosion. One day the episode goes up for members only. The next day a clip goes viral. By day 3, he's trending #1 in the country with primetime news debates about him. And by day 4, the police are involved. It was a sudden, explosive, and, as he calls it, a totally disproportionate spiral into chaos. And here's where the story takes this incredible, ironic twist. In that very same episode, there was a moment he was incredibly proud of. After a male guest made a pretty crude remark, a female panelist, Apurva, just destroyed him with a comeback so sharp it left everyone speechless. For Samay, this wasn't just a funny bit, it was a really powerful moment. But that moment of female empowerment that he specifically chose to keep in the final cut because he thought it was so important, was part of the very episode that led to 3 police cases against him. It just shows you the impossible tightrope these creators have to walk. And get this, while this whole media storm was breaking in India, Samay was on the other side of the world, right in the middle of his US tour, about to find out just how terrifying the digital world can make the real one. Backstage, right before his second show, the stress became physical. He had a full-blown anxiety attack. His heart was pounding, he had vertigo, he could barely breathe. His own therapist told him, "You have to cancel. The audience will see the fear on your face." But he went on anyway. He performed a 90-minute set purely from muscle memory, faking every single smile. So why would he push through that? Why would anyone do that to themselves? Well, you just have to look at the stakes. He had about 1 crore rupees in life savings. The potential loss from canceling the tour was 8 crore. The financial pressure was just as crushing as the public pressure. And this wasn't just online anymore. The situation quickly escalated into real-world terror. His personal phone number was leaked. He was getting flooded with death threats. People were sending him photos of his parents threatening their safety. And then it reached the highest levels, with political leaders, including the chief minister of Assam, filing official police cases against him. So he's at his absolute lowest point. He feels totally alone, abandoned, and just terrified. And then, one phone call managed to pull him back from the brink. A conversation with his father. His dad said this to him, and it just completely reframed the whole situation. It's so simple, but so profound. It was a reminder that his identity, his real worth, wasn't tied to this one project. He was the source of the creativity, not the other way around.
And then his father put everything into perspective. He told him, "I lost my home during the Kashmir conflict, and I didn't cry then." By connecting Samay's crisis to their family's history of real, tangible, devastating loss, he gave him the perspective and the strength to realize this was survivable.
With this new perspective, Samay found the strength to finish his tour. He came back to India not to fight some big war, but to navigate the consequences with a much clearer understanding of the whole game of fame.
So what was the big lesson he learned? It was this. The Indian internet isn't really a stage for art. It's a game of public perception. And in this game, he realized it's actually safer to play the jerk. Why? Well, if you have a clean image, you live in constant fear of making one mistake. But if you're already seen as a jerk, nobody expects much from you. It's totally liberating. A jerk can always have a moment of redemption, but a clean person can be destroyed by a single scandal.
And this led to his final strategy. He realized the fight against this online outrage mob and the political machine just wasn't a fair one. So he drew on what he calls Kashmiri Pundit wisdom. When the fight isn't fair, you don't try to become a martyr, you survive. And survival is the ultimate victory. So he chose to apologize and just wait for the storm to pass.
And you know what? He did survive. He landed back in India, he cleared his name with the police, and he had just completed the single most successful tour of his entire career. The firestorm had passed, and he came out the other side not just okay, but stronger, wiser, and with a profound clarity about his life and his work.
And this brings us to the ultimate takeaway from his entire ordeal, a lesson he learned after being forced to rethink everything. And it's really a question for all of us. In this world of constant digital hustle, what have you done today that was truly productive? We all think productivity is about work, right? Ticking off tasks. But he argues the opposite. The days you have to work are actually the days you lose. The truly productive days, those are the ones you spend with the people you love.